We all long for relationships where we feel valued, seen, understood, and truly safe and free to be ourselves. But for many of us, especially those healing from past wounds, building those kinds of connections can feel unfamiliar, overwhelming, uncertain, and even unattainable. If you've ever felt unheard, unseen, or like you had to shrink yourself to maintain a connection, you're not alone. Take a moment to ask yourself, have I ever felt the need to silence my own needs or feelings to keep a relationship intact? How did that experience shape the way you show up in relationships now? The truth is, conscious and safe relationships don't just happen. They are created, intentionally, patiently, with trust and mutual respect. According to attachment theory, the ability to create emotional safety often stems from our early experiences with caregivers. However, even if we didn't grow up with secure attachments, we can still learn to encourage them in adulthood. So today, let's take a close look on how to encourage relationships that nourish, empower, and allow us to grow, both individually and together. So how do we create relationships that feel safe and supportive while also allowing us to grow? Let's examine this further. Real safety in relationships begins with honesty. That means sharing your thoughts, feelings, and boundaries openly, without fear of judgment. It also means listening with an open heart. Vulnerability might feel scary, especially if trust has been broken before, but it's the bridge that deepens connection. When we don't express our feelings, needs, and boundaries, resentment builds, and misunderstandings happen. A safe relationship allows for honest communication without fear of punishment or withdrawal. Dr. Marshall Rosenberg's Nonviolent Communication (NVC) framework highlights 4 essential components: observations, feelings, needs, and requests. Using this approach reduces defensiveness and encourages deeper understanding. Let me show you an example. Instead of saying, "You never listen to me, try this," when I'm interrupted, I feel unheard, because I value being understood. I want us both to feel listened to. Would it be okay if we take turns speaking? In a podcast interview, Dr. Rosenberg shared a story about a couple who kept arguing about housework. When they shifted from blaming language to expressing their feelings and needs using NVC, their conversations became less combative and more solution-focused. Pause for a moment and ask yourself, when was the last time I openly communicated my needs in a relationship? How was it received, and how did I feel afterward? We all want to feel heard, and sometimes the best thing we can do is simply listen, without interrupting, fixing, or judging. Give the people in your life the same space you'd want when you need to express yourself. Feeling heard is one of the most powerful forms of emotional safety. When people feel judged, they shut down. Dr. Daniel Siegel's work on attachment highlights that consistent emotional responsiveness strengthens relational security, making listening one of the most essential relationship skills. In his book, The Developing Mind: How Relationships and the Brain Interact to Shape Who We Are, Dr. Daniel Siegel explains that when children experience consistent, empathetic listening from their caregivers, they are more likely to develop emotional intelligence and build healthier, more secure relationships as adults. He emphasizes that these positive interactions help children develop neural pathways associated with emotional regulation, empathy, and social understanding, which are critical for nurturing healthy relationships later in life. Siegel's work integrates neuroscience, psychology, and attachment theory to support these ideas. Think about the last time someone truly listened to you without offering solutions or interrupting. How did that moment affect your sense of connection and trust with that person? Try this 5-minute check-in with a partner, friend, or family member. Each person takes turns sharing something on their mind, while the other listens without interrupting. The first step in trying something new is always the hardest. Remember, building emotional safety takes time, patience, and mutual effort. Sometimes, the most meaningful moments in a relationship don't need words. Comfortable shared silence can be a beautiful way to connect with your partner, allowing you both to feel close and understood without the pressure of constant conversation. It's in these quiet moments that a deeper sense of unity and intimacy can grow. Research from the Journal of Social and Personal Relationships shows that couples who can enjoy silence together often experience stronger emotional bonds. These moments of quiet togetherness create a safe space where both partners can simply be, build trust, and emotional closeness. Imagine you and your partner are sitting together after a long day, maybe reading or just enjoying the view. Instead of feeling the need to fill the silence, you both feel completely at ease. It's a moment of quiet connection that says, "I'm here with you," and that's enough. Ask yourself, does silence in a relationship feel comforting or uncomfortable to me? What does that reveal about my sense of emotional safety? The next time you're with your partner, try sitting together in silence for a few minutes, whether it's during a walk, while enjoying a meal, or just relaxing at home. Notice how it feels to share that space without words. If it feels right, you can even share a simple acknowledgement afterward, like, "I love how comfortable it feels to just be with you." Boundaries are not walls, they are bridges to deeper respect. They tell people what's okay, what's not, and what helps you feel safe. And just as your boundaries matter, so do theirs. Respecting someone's space, time, and emotional needs strengthens trust. According to Nedra Glover-Tawwab, boundaries can be rigid, porous, or healthy. Rigid boundaries can isolate us, while porous boundaries can lead to resentment. The goal is to nurture healthy boundaries that support mutual respect and emotional safety. Boundaries are not about controlling others. They're about creating a space where both people feel respected and safe. If you need alone time to recharge instead of disappearing without explanation, you could say, "I love our time together. However, I also need 20 minutes alone to take a deep breath and collect my thoughts. Thank you, and I appreciate you." Let's examine this instance. Write down 3 personal boundaries that help you feel safe and respected in relationships. Then, practice clearly communicating them to someone in a calm, loving way. Life isn't just about the big moments. It's also about the small, everyday experiences that bring joy and connection. Doing things together, whether it's hiking, cooking, or even trying something completely new, can create lasting memories and strengthen your bond. Shared activities give you a chance to laugh, learn, and grow together, reminding you why you fell in love in the first place. According to Dr. John Gottman, a renowned relationship expert, couples who regularly engage in fun shared activities are more likely to maintain a strong emotional connection. In his book, The 7 Principles for Making Marriage Work, he writes, "Happy couples are those who find ways to keep playing together." These moments of play and collaboration help build a sense of teamwork and mutual appreciation. Here's one way to think about it. Think about the last time you and your partner tried something new together. Maybe it was a dance class, a DIY project, or even a road trip. Remember how it felt to laugh together when things didn't go as planned, or to celebrate when you succeeded? Those moments are the glue that holds relationships together. Test this approach. This week, plan one activity you and your partner can do together, something that feels fun or meaningful to both of you. It could be as simple as cooking a new recipe or as adventurous as taking a day trip to a nearby town. Pay attention to how it feels to share that experience and how it brings you closer. Safe relationships aren't about perfection, they're about accountability. We all make mistakes, but what matters is how we handle them. Owning your actions, apologizing when necessary, and making the effort to grow, this builds trust more than never making a mistake at all. A conscious relationship is not about being perfect, but about taking ownership when mistakes happen. According to Brené Brown, vulnerability and accountability are the foundation of trust. When we own our mistakes instead of justifying them, we strengthen connection. Consider this example. If you lose your temper instead of justifying it, try saying, "I realize I reacted out of frustration and that wasn't fair to you. I'm sorry. I'll work on handling my reactions and frustrations better." Practice using I statements when discussing conflicts. Instead of, "You made me feel bad," try, "I felt hurt when that happened." You statements, for the most part, come off as accusatory, and the other person will most likely become defensive, which can escalate the situation. Think about a recent conflict and ask yourself, did I take responsibility for my part in it? And how did that impact the outcome in the relationship? True safety is when you know you can be fully yourself, flaws and all, without fear of rejection. That's why empathy matters. It's the bridge that connects us, allowing us to step into someone else's world and say, I see you, I hear you, and you matter to me. Try to see things from the other person's perspective, especially when it's hard. Lead with kindness, not because it's easy, but because it's in those difficult moments that compassion has the power to heal and strengthen bonds. Empathy is what makes relationships feel emotionally safe. It allows people to feel seen, heard, and understood. Here's something to help clarify. If someone is having a rough day, instead of dismissing their emotions, try saying, "That must be really tough. I may not fully understand, but I'm here to hold space for you." Try this exercise. When you're frustrated with someone, take a deep breath and ask yourself, what might they be feeling right now? Give them space to process and feel what they're feeling because their emotions are valid. Just be present, unless you're feeling unsafe, in which case, remove yourself from their space immediately and safely. When was the last time you told someone you appreciate them, not for what they do, but for who they are? Gratitude strengthens relationships. A simple "I see you, I appreciate you" can make someone feel valued, seen, and safe in your presence. Feeling appreciated strengthens emotional safety and deepens connection. Let me give you a quick example. Instead of assuming someone knows you value them, say it out loud, "I really appreciate the way you support me when I need it. It means a lot." Try this example. Write or voice record a short message to someone telling them something you genuinely appreciate about them. Texts at times lack emotion, and let's face it, technology can disconnect us from the human, person-to-person connection. A voice memo or handwritten note adds that special touch. Then, witness the magic. This is certain to shift the energy of the relationship. No two people think or feel exactly alike, and that's okay. The key to a conscious relationship is learning to appreciate those differences instead of trying to change or fix each other. Honor their journey while staying true to yours. No two people will always agree, but mutual respect creates space for healthy conversations instead of conflicts. As Don Miguel Ruiz teaches in The Four Agreements, taking things personally and making assumptions often lead to unnecessary misunderstandings. Clear and respectful dialogue allows for true connection. If you have different political or spiritual beliefs from someone you love, rather than arguing, say, "We may not see eye to eye, but let's find what connects us and move forward together." Pick a topic you and your partner, friend, or family member disagree on. Instead of trying to convince them of your point of view, practice asking questions with genuine curiosity. Focus on understanding their perspective rather than debating it. This approach encourages open dialogue and mutual respect, making it easier to find common ground without escalating into an argument. Before you try this exercise, take a moment to check in with yourself and the specific person you've had a misunderstanding with. This practice works best when both of you feel calm, open, and willing to engage without the goal of winning the conversation. If emotions are running high or past conflicts feel unresolved, it's okay to pause and revisit this when you both feel safe and connected. Research shows that genuine curiosity and active listening help lower defensiveness, making it easier to build trust and mutual understanding. Remember, the goal isn't to agree, but to better understand each other. In any relationship, we might find ourselves adjusting or editing our responses to avoid unnecessary conflict. This can be an act of mindfulness, choosing the right moment to speak, or making small adjustments to maintain peace. Done intentionally, it can actually strengthen the relationship, showing care and respect for one another's emotional needs. But there's a fine line between healthy compromise and suppressing who we truly are. If we find ourselves constantly holding back our thoughts, feelings, or desires out of fear of rejection or conflict, we risk disconnecting from our authentic selves. The key to healthy relationships is not about losing ourselves in the process, but about creating space where both people can show up, vulnerable, authentic, and without fear of judgment. True connection doesn't thrive on self-suppression. Healthy relationships rely on balance, compromise when needed, but also respect for each other's individuality. If you're constantly editing yourself to keep the peace, it may lead to feeling disconnected or misunderstood over time. Healthy compromise should never come at the cost of losing who you are. Ask yourself, am I holding back something important because I'm afraid of conflict or judgment? If you're frequently suppressing your true thoughts and feelings to keep the peace, it's time to reconsider the way you're engaging with the relationship. Is it truly creating space for both of you to thrive? People feel safest when they know they won't be criticized or shamed for being themselves. A judgment-free space allows real connection to happen. Let your relationships be a place where both of you can show up fully and authentically. When people feel truly accepted, they're more likely to open up, be vulnerable, and build deeper, more meaningful relationships. Here's a real-life example to help guide you. If a friend admits to making a mistake, instead of saying, "I told you so," say, "I understand why you made that choice. What do you think you'll do differently next time?" Consider this example. Pay attention to your inner dialogue. Are you quick to judge others or yourself? Instead of leaning into criticism, try approaching those thoughts with gentle curiosity. This simple shift not only nurtures self-compassion, but also opens the door to deeper shadow work and self-exploration. A safe and conscious relationship doesn't mean merging into one identity. It means standing side by side, each rooted in your individuality while reaching for shared dreams. True intimacy flourishes when both people feel free to grow, not only as a couple but as whole individuals. Psychologist Esther Perel reminds us, love rests on two pillars: surrender and autonomy. Our need for togetherness exists alongside our need for separateness. One does not exist without the other. Imagine your partner or friend shares a personal goal. Perhaps they want to start a new hobby, go back to school, or launch a creative project. Rather than feeling threatened or distant, lean into support by saying something like, "I'm so proud of you, you've got this, and I'm here to back you up." Write down one personal goal that excites you, something just for you. Then share it with someone who genuinely supports your growth. Ask them about their goals too, and see how you can uplift each other. Building a safe relationship is not about shrinking to fit each other's lives. It's about expanding together. No relationship is perfect, and that's why checking in is so important. Take the time to ask, "How are we doing? Is there anything we can work on? Do you feel supported?" These small moments of reflection strengthen trust and keep the connection evolving. Relationships, like anything else, need maintenance. Regular check-ins prevent resentment and misunderstandings from turning into disconnection. Instead of assuming everything is fine, ask, "Hey, how are you feeling about our friendship or relationship lately? Is there anything you need more or less of?" Schedule a monthly relationship check-in with someone close to you. Use it as a time to share openly about what's going well and what could improve. This is great because it doesn't have to be like an interview. Check in while taking a casual hike, over lunch or coffee. A spiritual connection in a relationship isn't about religion. It's about creating moments of deep presence and shared meaning. Whether it's through mindfulness, meditation, or simply taking a walk in nature together, these practices can help you and your partner feel more aligned and grounded. It's about tuning into the deeper layers of your connection and honoring the sacredness of your bond. Eckhart Tolle, in his book, The Power of Now, emphasizes the importance of presence in relationships. Real love is not based on attachment, but on being fully present with one another. When couples engage in spiritual practices together, they create a space where they can connect beyond the surface level, nurturing a sense of peace and unity. Imagine starting your day with a short meditation session with your partner. Sitting quietly together, focusing on your breath, and setting an intention for the day can create a sense of calm and connection that carries through the rest of your time together. It's a simple yet profound way to nurture your relationship. Test this approach. Try setting aside 5 to 10 minutes each day this week to practice mindfulness or meditation with your partner. Sit quietly together, focus on your breath, or simply hold hands and reflect on what you're grateful for in each other. Notice how it feels to share that quiet, intentional space. At the heart of every strong relationship is the commitment to communicate with kindness, listen with an open heart, and support each other in a way that feels genuine. Conscious relationships aren't perfect, but they're intentional. The more we practice these small shifts, the deeper our connections grow. So next time you're in a moment of tension or misunderstanding, pause and ask yourself, how can I make this a safe space for both of us? Because when we create safety in our relationships, we create the kind of love that lasts beyond words, a love that becomes the shelter we return to when the world feels too heavy to carry alone.